Hello Aquarius, how's everybody doing? We are here with a timeless reading. Before we get started, let's set the intention for this to be a space where everyone allows themselves to feel seen and validated, and ultimately for this to be a safe space and a healing space in alignment with the highest good. Alright, we're starting off with the Four of Swords. I'm seeing this little design here. It's like this string that has moons and stars on it. Okay. More than anything right now, it's about prioritizing recharging. Can be focusing more on like physical health, making sure that you're staying hydrated, eating what your body wants to eat, making sure that you're sleeping. For some of you, you could be, I don't know if you're feeling under the weather or just feel like you need a break. It can be like a mental health break that you feel like you need. But right now it's about, it can even be like a recovery sort of energy as well here. And that being prioritized because you know that getting yourself to 100% is going to make everything else better. So it all starts with you. So I'm seeing that be the big focus here. So whether this be mental break, physical break, just doing what you need to do for your body, physical care, self-care of any sort, just tuning in, listening in to what you need and applying that and prioritizing that for you right now. So this is, right now it's not about how productive you can be. You know, sometimes your guides are like, okay, get to it. Like it's time to get to work, time to do whatever it is that you're doing. Right now I'm not seeing that be the case. I'm seeing this be more, make sure that you're catching up on sleep as it is possible for you, as is possible. Or whatever else it is that you need to do for you. Yeah. I get this as either like reserving your energy, conserving your energy, or building your energy back up. Conserving energy. The reason why the energy is lulling like this and why it's very important for you to take this break. I'm also hearing cut that out. You may be cutting something out. It can be of your routine, diet, whatever, or cut it, or like pulling things in, integrating things in. Whatever this is for you, the reason why this would be happening is that something bigger is going to be coming, that you're going to need to, this energy that you're sort of storing up right now is going to need to be exerted. I'm seeing something is going to be coming up for you. And you want to make sure that you're kind of at your best at this point. So now is making sure that you're doing what you need to get to that place. So you can be in like top shape. Yeah, make sure that you're giving back to yourself. I'm seeing Six of Pentacles. So this is like, make sure that you're not overexerting yourself. Make sure that you're putting yourself in situations where there is reciprocity, where you feel like if I'm exerting this, I'm getting this back. You know, this is about like equal give and take with the Six of Pentacles. It's not only about your own generosity or your own exertion, it's also about having interactions where you feel like your energy is sort of matched in that way, where you're like, wow, this is really worth it to me to be doing. This is not about you doing something that's feeling draining to you. So right now, because of needing to have your energy be at 100%, or you're getting to the point where you're like pulling it back up like a battery filling up. This is about only doing things right now within this little snapshot of time. It's about only doing things right now where you don't feel like you're giving too much and not getting enough back, or taking too much and not giving. It's about keeping that balance here and doing what you need to do for you currently. Because you know that if you're not doing what you need to do for you, you're going to be like no good to any situation that you're in. Well, not no good, but you know what I mean. It's always about taking care of yourself first and foremost, because then you're going to be in the best position possible to interact with others around you. And this is going to help you feel like you're able to be present moving forward, because you're being present with yourself right now, doing whatever this is that you need to do for you. So also, if you're feeling like I need to take a break and trying to like push yourself through something, is about getting to this point where you are tackling this sort of stillness, we can say. This is also kind of like a training ground for those of you that experience anxiety as well, because sometimes when we experience anxiety, we can be like, well, now I'm just sitting here. What am I supposed to do? I feel like I should be doing something right now. So this is also about like settling back in and grounding your energy as well, rather than feeling like you constantly need to be up and about and doing things and all of that. This is about relaxing into it and finding that calm center within you too. So it's kind of like, yeah, training ground for that as well, to kind of like regulate your nervous system. So that's also what this break is doing too. I will say this as well. For some of you, this isn't going to feel like a big break for you that you need to take. Like, this is not going to be something elongated. I'm not speaking to those of you that that's the case for you right now. For those of you that feel like something happened where you could have gotten sick, or there's some sort of ailment or something popping up where you're like not really able to be active because of something. Many times we find ourselves in these situations because we're not following the little cues that we need to follow, where it's like, oh, I'm tired, but I'm still gonna like take that extra shift anyway. Like, oh, I'm not feeling great, but I'm gonna do this anyway. Oh, my body's saying like I really need to get rest right now, but I'm gonna stay up until like 5 a.m. again, you know, stuff like that, where your body's like, hey, we need time to recover, and then you find yourself getting sick in some way, or the universe doing things where it's sort of stopping you from being able to take action. And that's happening if we're not listening to the cues already. Not in every single situation. There are other reasons why these things can manifest, but for the most part, like those of you that might find every month or every other month or every couple months you're getting sick, like colds and stuff or little things like that, part of the reason that this may be happening is because of needing to take a break. You could be exerting too much energy, not getting enough back, and really wearing yourself out. And so your body's like, okay, well, you're not listening to me on a regular day, and so we're going to have to get sick now. So you're sort of like forced to recover, because I know you'll listen to that. So some of you may be working now on regulating, and that's why I'm seeing, because of needing to stack up your energy now and like call your energy back to you and do this in whatever way that works for you to facilitate that. I'm seeing you're also learning to prioritize interactions and exchanges that feel like equal back and forth, rather than you. I'm definitely getting you being an overexerter at times. Some of you, it's not on a severe scale, and this is just like, okay, like I need to catch up on sleep now, or it's something small. But for some of you, this is a bigger thing, where there's something bigger going on here, where there's more of a focus now on maybe editing some of the interactions that you've been in, some of the exchanges that you've been in, and learning really what reciprocity looks like for you, and what really aligns with your values and your value system. Because when we repetitively find ourselves overexerting ourselves, it's to compensate generally for a lack of worth that we are feeling. So this is also tapping into that of, why do I feel like I'm tying my worth to my to how much I'm exerting? Because, you know, when you feel when you feel centered and when you feel grounded and when you feel at peace within yourself, you don't feel the need to overexert yourself. You feel like, I'm going to pay attention to what I need to do for me. And when my body says, hey, I need a break now, or we don't need to like do work today, or like I need this, or this is what self-care is going to look like for me right now, you're going to feel moved more in a direction to align with that. So yeah, I'm seeing this be a process where however it is that this break is happening for you or this pause is happening for you, it's very much associated with what you're doing in 3D and how you're exchanging, and you're seeing the relationship between that of, oh, when I'm more regulated and more balanced, I don't have to take these big breaks from things because I'm regulating myself. But when I need that extra hand regulating, oh, I'm getting sick. Or, oh, these circumstances are happening, so now I can't do this, or now I can't do that. You know, for some of you, I'm getting something about like your Wi-Fi going out as well. Like you could have been wanting to work, something like that, and having issues with connectivity. So kind of like force you to step away from something, you know, little things like this where I'm hearing Archimedes, little things like this where there's kind of a stepping in that's happening to get you to check back in with self. And for those of you that you're like, I wish I would just take these like small little breaks when I need to rather than having to take these bigger breaks, you're going to feel more motivated to check in and check out the types of interactions that you're doing. And when they're feeling draining to you, being like, okay, I can take a step back here. Because again, like us feeling the need to overexert ourselves, it comes from feeling like we're not enough and that our worth is tied to our productivity. Which it's not intrinsically, that's just tied in with your belief system. So I'm seeing that be something that you're learning about here. Okay. It can also be telling you too, if you're doing things that like aren't aligned with your values and you're getting drained from it, you may be recognizing that more often too and being like, oh, that's out of alignment for me. I'm sorry, my nose gets very, very itchy sometimes when I channel. It is getting very itchy now. So if you see me rubbing my nose, that's why. It happens ever so often. Yes. I'm seeing you having this like slow build where you're becoming more and more confident in yourself. Like I'm seeing you be like really open to learning about yourself and especially your values, which means that like what types of interaction do they need to look like in order for me to feel valued, in order for me to feel like my energy and my time is valued, versus what's not feeling like that. That's what I'm seeing there be a lot of you learning about right now. So it's like, let me try to figure out the patterns. Every time I go into this environment, do I feel like it's pooling more than I want to be giving? And then I just feel like I'm shot for the rest of the day. And sometimes there are situations that are like that where it's like, well, I don't want to like cut this off. I want to still be able to go into situations like that, but you may be doing it less often, you know? Nothing needs to be like completely stopping or completely going. This is about moderating things for you. So if you're doing something too much and you're like, I don't want to have to be taking all these breaks or like recovering all of this energy, you're seeing like, where am I exerting too much energy and calling it back to you. So there's just more of a deliberateness, yes, with the way that you're utilizing your energy and recognizing that that's a resource for you. And the more reciprocal an exchange is, the more you're going to feel like there's a flow of that type of currency, energetic currency. And I'm seeing like the more open you are to learning this and being real with yourself about the situations that you're in too, of I wish it didn't drain my energy, but it does every time I'm with that person. This is also about you learning boundaries too, which is also important as well. Because the only time that a situation can feel like vampiric towards your energy is when you're not having boundaries, because it takes like the two polarities to be able to do that. So something that's like really sucking your energy isn't going to be able to do that if you're setting boundaries, you know, because you're not in that polarity anymore. You're going into that neutral ground. So it stops that other thing from happening. So that's also what's important here that you're doing too. You're like learning how to transmute and be in that neutral space rather than being on one side or the other. I'm either like giving too much or taking too much, or I always feel like I'm giving too much and that person or this situation is always pulling my energy. This is you going back into the center. Because when you're too far over in a polarity, no matter which side of it you're on, there's always going to be that opposite and equal force that's going to be pulling from you. And it's going to be this dance that goes back and forth. So you moving yourself into the middle, it like mitigates that. It stops that from happening. It actually transmutes that when you're neutral. So it stops that like polarity dance that's happening. So this is really what I'm seeing you becoming more and more aware of for yourself. And I'm also seeing you like be good with the fact that you're taking a break. Like I'm seeing you feel good about yourself for doing that. Like feel proud of yourself for doing that. Like, no, I'm not taking like putting all of my value and all of my pride in how productive I am and how much I'm working all the time. I'm really proud of myself for listening to my body and what I need right now, and listening to my soul and listening to all of the communication that I'm getting from myself and applying that. And I'm seeing that's really what's building up for you too. And also being mindful of these situations that you're putting yourself in, and not putting yourself in situations where you feel like you're being taken advantage of, or situations that you don't want to be in because they don't feel right to you, or they don't feel fair to you, or they just aren't the vibe, you know? And I'm also seeing this have a desirable effect on your moods as well. Like I'm seeing you feel more steady because of this too. Like really strengthening this relationship between you and you. I'm seeing a lot of openness and a lot of receptivity here. And I feel like there's so much that you're learning right now from your experience. From your experiences. I'm seeing there also be a focus on things that feel stable to you. I'm also hearing things that feel nurturing, maybe also nourishing. So, as you are right now, really focusing on your values, what means what to you, what's important to you, what types of situations and interactions you prefer to be in, because you're learning all about that right now. I'm seeing you getting a clearer idea of maybe what you are, of what you are intentionally building and maybe even committing to build within your life. This can also be an outlook on like ideal relationships for you as well, or just anything that you're a part of. But things that it's like needing to master the Six of Pentacles prior to being able to manifest the Four of Wands. Let me explain what this is. Six of Pentacles are your values, and until you get clear on your values, every time you try to build a relationship, it's going to feel potentially out of alignment because you're unclear on your values. And so how are you supposed to know whether a relationship matches that or not if you're not paying attention? So this is like let me take this time right now to really review my values and what matters to me and learn from that, so I can know that when I'm committing myself to something or getting involved in something, I'm recognizing that that aligns with like the outlay that I have of my values. I'm making sure that that's compatible, and that I'm not signing myself up to do things that feel draining to me or that feel out of alignment, or situations I go into where I don't feel valued and then I feel resentful because of it, because I'm not setting boundaries and I'm doing things that are out of alignment with my values. So like all of this is going to come full circle for sure, but I'm seeing, because you're building such a solid foundation, it's really allowing you to build out something that is very, very compatible with what feels intrinsic to you and important to you within this lifetime. And this is really how you manifest something cohesive within your life too, that feels very solid and it feels very stable, rather than something that you feel like you're constantly grabbing at and like, it needs to be tweaked over there, it needs to be tweaked over there, like I really don't like this situation. Like this is a lot about you being honest with yourself and being real with yourself, and also realistic with yourself, and not trying to force pieces together that don't actually fit. And the process can feel inconvenient at times too, because it can mean sometimes that things that we've become accustomed to or very comfortable with, we are going to be sort of stepping away from, because something else is going to be a better fit for us. For some of you, there's a relationship or a commitment that you're involved in currently that feels like it's becoming maybe a bit overwhelming at this point, and a choice needs to be made, like whether or not this actually fits in with your values. But I'm seeing, for some reason, it's like you're curious about the information and you want the information and you want to know the truth, but I'm also seeing it feel a bit heavy. I think this also ties into what I was saying before of, when you start doing this, as much as the end result is going to be something really awesome and liberating for you, this can also be a very challenging concept to be playing out, because that means that in reviewing what your values are and what's important to you, it's also going to highlight the things that you're involved in right now that may be out of alignment with that, and then what do you do about that? And I'm seeing there be something here that's like clicking into place, kind of like information that you're getting that may just be like, I don't know if I wanted to know that right now, but it's just part of the process. You may just feel a bit overwhelmed with everything that you're taking in, because I feel like your eyes are like very wide open right now. And so you're like really getting the truth because you really want to see it for what it is. And because of that, it feels like something is maybe like you are asking something of yourself that's going to impact a relationship or a commitment of yours, and that may just feel like a lot right now. Like, I have to make this choice and it's just stressing me out thinking about doing that. But you already know what it is. But maybe you still want to poke around a little bit before you end up acting on this. Like, you may feel like, you know what, I just want to observe for a little bit longer before I take action on this. This is what I'm seeing. Should we keep going? Maybe we can get some advice. Is this commitment, is this relationship, does it meet your standards? The more familiar you are with your values and your standards, and honest you are with yourself about that, the more obvious that answer is going to be for you. But it does feel like you kind of already have an answer here. It just may be like a lot of truth to be holding because of the implications of what that means. I will say this too. It also opens up an opportunity for you to, in recognizing your values and your standards and your expectations, if this thing that you're involved in doesn't meet all of those things, then comes the question, like, can I still continue to be in this, like, with a happy heart? Or am I going to grow resentful because this is a need of mine that I need met and it's not being met? And I feel like I'm cutting off a piece of myself that doesn't feel good to do that with, and like closing down my throat chakra and my heart. And that's going to end up affecting me later on. So that's something that you want to ask yourself, because sometimes we do have standards and we're like, okay, these are my standards. This situation isn't completely compatible with it, but they're things that I'm willing to compromise on. Are you willing to compromise on those things? And that's really the deeper question here. Can you do it? And it's not only like, are you willing to compromise? It's like, can you do it and feel good about it? Or if you do that, are you going to feel resentful and then be holding that within your body, that type of energy, and then reaping the effects of that? Because you can withstand many things, right? Like you can put yourself through many things, but can you do that and be happy about it? This is definitely bringing up some pressure in the heart chakra. I'm seeing this feels like it's also bringing up old wounds as well, ones that you're quite familiar with. This may, for some of you, this is like a reoccurring pattern, a reoccurring theme, a reoccurring cycle that you've seen in many, many relationships. It always will repeat. These archetypal themes that we go through personally repeat again and again in many different shapes and forms and sizes until we pick up what we need to pick up, until we work through it and complete it. So this does feel like something, definitely a challenging situation that's returning to you, that maybe it's not with the same person, but this is something archetypally speaking that you've experienced energetically. This is something that's been reoccurring for you, is what I'm seeing. This situation that's unfolding, it's breaking ground for something connected with like deep, either like family history, ancestral history, and or like belief systems, to go through some sort of like monumental I'm getting a lot of different words here. It's like something is going to end up looking very, very different than it had been before. This can be beliefs that you felt were very like core and solid to you. Even like belief systems and like programming and stuff that maybe you weren't even seeing as that. That's really going to go through a very big change. But I'm seeing this all be tied to something that may have happened when you were small. Like something from your deep, deep past, deep, deep history, like within your formative years. Even though, like, aren't they all formative years? But yeah, when you were tiny. This has to do with social structure. And it can also touch on like religion and authority figures as well, or like community. But yeah, what I'm getting is that like your perception of values and belief systems, there's a very, very huge change that is going to be erupting essentially. It's kind of like something that had been cemented into your foundation before is now being like broken apart. This is a good thing. It's going to allow even something that had been sort of crystallized to be broken up, and it was something that was sort of like dislodged somewhere within the heart chakra is what I'm seeing. I do feel like this also comes back to self-worth, and maybe also like the belief in the need for validation or something like that. I'm seeing this be like a really deep thing. This is going to feel like a spiritual awakening to you as you move through this. Because stuff that you saw before as like maybe being truth or law that was connected with your belief system, it's going through like a very big cycle. Evolution. That's the best way for me to sum it up, the way that the energy is shifting. So this is something that maybe before you thought was like, this is just how it is and that's not going to change. And now there's like a very big shift that's happening. I feel again like this is associated with your belief system. It can be with how you see the world, especially how you see yourself, how you see your interactions with others and your values that are associated with that and your self-worth. And how you're feeling. Like there may be a more and different intuitive way that you're going to move through things. Like there's definitely an evolving here that's sparking up. But there's some digging up as well that's happening too. This is like, why do I believe that? Where is that coming from? Like even getting down to like the little seeds, the like genesis of where these things come from. So a lot of like heady psychological stuff that's happening that has like a spiritual aspect to it as well. Okay, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everybody for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm wishing everybody love and light and healing, and I hope to catch you guys next time.